What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Lock and Cash podcast. It is Friday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Also happens to be my birthday. Yes, my birthday's on Valentine's Day. It kind of got gypped in that department with my wife having to also get her a gift on my birthday. You guys know how that goes. But I haven't posted since the Super Bowl. I did tell you guys I would be back after the Super Bowl, so you were here. We're going to talk college basketball Saturday today. As far as Super Bowl, I lost my play on Kansas City. That was my main play, 2-unit bet on the side. Never were in it, Philly was just way too good defensively. And no way, I talked in my preview video about how I thought they were better in the trenches, better defensively. No way did I ever think that they would physically dominate the Chiefs the way they did at the line of scrimmage. That was shocking to me. So lost that, had 8 props, went 5-3 on the props. So did well on the props, lost on the side, ended up losing about like 0.7 units or something like that, 0.8 units. So at the end of the day, lost a little bit, had fun watching the game, good halftime show, all that stuff. So football season is now behind us. I will have, videos in the summer, football futures. We'll do breakdowns on each team like I did last year, a full preview show. That'll be fun. But for now, we turn our attention to college basketball. I'm going to be breaking down 4 of the marquee matchups for you guys in this video. Give you 4 leans, strong leans. I'll probably be on these. The lines are not out yet, except for one of these games. We'll talk Bama Auburn, which has a posted line. The other 3, I have projections. I can tell you where I think the point spread's going to land, where it's going to be, and then we'll talk about how I'm going to play them as a result. So, if you're watching this early on Friday, though, which I'm posting this Friday morning or afternoon, I will have a free play posted on the Action app for a game tonight on Friday night. So not sure what that's going to be yet, but go check out the Action app down in the description, or you just if you have the app already, just follow me on it. It's at LC Sports, and you will find all my free picks track there on that app. So let's start off with one of the games that I'm looking at this weekend. We've got Purdue taking on Wisconsin. This is a huge, massive game in the Big Ten. And we don't have a posted line yet, obviously, but I'm just going to talk about the situational spot. I can give you the projection right now. Ken Palm has a projection of -4, Purdue -4 at home. I'm going to have this in my ratings a little bit north of 5. I'm probably looking at a 5.5 here. So if this were to open at 4, it would be a buy for me. And I see a couple other models have this at 5 and 6. So in my opinion, anything below 7, which is a key number in college basketball, right, from 2 possessions to 3 possessions, anything below 7 is a go for me on the Boilermakers here. They're off of that really tough loss at Michigan, and that was a game where we actually bet against them. We cashed Michigan. It was again, that free pick was tracked on Action. It was a 2-unit play on Michigan -1.5. It was a winner. That was a game where the line mattered. If you got 2 or 2.5 late, you didn't turn out well, but we grabbed the early 1.5, and that's really important in these games. So that was a win, and I just really liked the spot for Michigan. But despite having the advantageous spot being at home, Purdue led for most of the game. Michigan needed the Wolverines needed to come back late in the midway to late in the second half, and then barely hold on for the lead, up 6 with like a minute left or whatever it was, 7. Couple of threes fall in. Now suddenly it's a 2-point game. Purdue has a chance to win it at the buzzer. Just insane stuff. But to me, Purdue's the far better team here. All right, I'm going to look at Wisconsin. That's now coming into this game, really tough environment, on a 3-game winning streak. So it's like, oh great, they're playing well. Let's take a look at the 3 teams that they've beaten. Northwestern, okay, Indiana, and Iowa. In my opinion, 3 middle-of-the-road Big Ten teams that are okay but not good enough to contend for the conference. These are the teams that they're beating on. But now you got to go into an incredibly tough environment against a team that's coming off of a tough loss, a team that's been so good at home this season, and a team, honestly, Purdue has played a tougher schedule by at least 20 strength of schedule spots via Ken Palm. They've also got the best player on the floor. And I think that matters. I don't look at that much early in the season in college basketball. I look at it a lot when it comes to the NBA and the NBA playoffs. But when we're talking about mid to late season college hoops, especially conference tournament, NCAA tournament, it's almost just like, you do your regular handicap, but who's got the best player? Purdue, Braden Smith is the best player on the floor here. I think that really matters, having that leadership, that person you can just give the ball to and they can go get you a bucket. So I really like Purdue in this spot. Coming off of a loss, we're kind of zigzagging here, looking for that contrarian angle. Like I said, no line posted as of yet. And the one thing I'll say that if you like, let's say you want to bet Wisconsin in this game, the one thing that's on your side is that they're the best free throw shooting team in the country, north of 80% from the charity stripe. That's really important when you're trying to cover as a dog. I just don't think this game is going to be within reach in the end. I'm actually thinking Purdue can win this by 8 plus 10, maybe even a double-digit win. So if we get anything below 7 in this game, it's a go for me. I'm projecting a 4 or a 5-point opening spread. That would be a play for me on Purdue. So I'm leaning strongly to Purdue in this first matchup. All right, second game that I want to look at, and we're going to breeze through these. I don't want to make these podcasts super long each week, but we're going to look at Texas taking on Kentucky. The Longhorns as projected to be a small home underdog in this game. I'm thinking it's going to be a couple of points. All right, KenPom has Kentucky -1. I don't think that's going to be this, but I think this is going to open with Kentucky have a little bit of a bigger favorite. Texas has lost 3 games in a row. They're struggling. They're not shooting well. The defense is looking a little bit leaky, nothing terrible, but man, when we're looking at teams, right, all day, every day, trying to handicap game, trying to look ahead to the big Saturday slates, because the Saturday slates are where a lot of spots come to fruition. There's a lot of college basketball systems that just depend on Saturdays, and you'll look at the system and then filter for day, and all the profit comes on Saturdays because it's like an NFL Sunday, right? It's like the big day for college hoops. So when we're looking at teams and we're trying to profile, like, hey, what team is due for some positive variance? What team is really on the end of the spectrum right now? They're like way as an outlier. When can they come back to their mean, regress to their mean, or whatever the case may be? You've got 2 teams here that are on opposite sides, which I love. I love those contrarian spots. Texas shooting right now brutal from 30% in conference play from 3-point range, but they're allowing their opponents to shoot north of 40%. And a lot of these looks have been contested. It's not like their open 3 rate is super high. So opponents are just draining threes against them. What has Kentucky been doing? 42% from 3 in conference play. Just came off of that win as a home dog against Tennessee. That was a revenge spot for Tennessee. Did not work out. They've now swept the season series against Tennessee. Just the shooting has been unsustainable. And the main thing that I want to sell off on here is the Kentucky defense, which is holding opponents below 30% from 3. They're defending well. They're getting steals. They're forcing turnovers. I don't think Kentucky's defense is that good. I think this is a great stretch of games that they've had. They've been playing really well. But man, if there was ever a team that was due for some negative variance and ever a team due for some positive variance going up against each other, this is the matchup right here. And I think that's why this is going to appear when it opens as one of those shady spreads where it's like, whoa, Texas stinks lately. Kentucky, I could take a money line on Kentucky. They're only laying 1, only laying 2 on the road. Like, I could just play Kentucky money line, but I actually think the home dog is going to be very live in this game. And if you look at Texas's schedule coming up, man, there's not many more opportunities to grab a win. This is one of the few games where you have a team that's below average defensively. I want to say below average, but not elite defensively. So Texas has a chance to make some shots here, keep themselves in this game. I think this one's going to come right down to the wire. So for me, you can't just blindly play the spot. It has to be coupled with some line value. If I can get a bucket, give me 1 possession here with Texas 2, right? +2, +2.5, +3. But +2 or higher would be my fire on the Longhorns in this spot. I think it's again one of those it's one of those games where you look at the matchup and you're like, oh, I don't like this. Kentucky is the better team. They're playing really well. Texas is more of this steady team, right? They're very balanced offensively and defensively. You look at their KenPom, their Sagarin ratings, their Haslametrics metrics. They're like very steady on both sides. So when you see one side, like what you're having right now, they're shooting so poorly, one side go way down, it's only a matter of time before they even out. They're not one of these high variance teams. They're very in the middle. So I think this could be a perfect spot for their offense to get it going against a Kentucky defense that, number one, is playing a little bit above their heads right now and comes off of a great performance at home against Tennessee. But the last few times that Kentucky has gone on the road, it hasn't been as good. They had that one win against Tennessee, but they've lost some games on the road. Like they lost to Georgia on the road, Vanderbilt on the road. They've lost to these middle of the road SEC teams where they tend to play down to their competition. And I think this could be a really good spot for the Longhorns. So strong lean to Texas. If this opens plus points, I will be grabbing it myself. We got 2 more games to look at before I get into those 2. Did want to talk about Underdog for a second. We're partnered with Underdog. We cashed an Underdog entry on the Super Bowl. We cashed one on the NBA last night. If you're just a traditional bettor like I am, This is completely different. Underdog is a different way to sweat the games out, to enjoy the game. That's much more fun way. Like, you're not looking for line value. You're not staring at odds screens. It's just DFS pick'em, right? You're not even betting. It's just higher or lower. You look at some player projections, specifically in the NBA. Like for this weekend, I'll have some UFC entries. You can play significant strikes, higher or lower, takedowns, higher or lower. And you're just looking at guys, and they give you a number, and you can alternate the numbers if you want, but you're just picking higher or lower. It's super fun. You get a lot of bonuses, promo codes. There's always like boosts and stuff like that. So it's always there. Every time you open the app or go to the website, something different is being offered to you, a gift here or there. Hey, refer a friend, get $20, whatever it is. So I really like that. It's, for me, other than the traditional sports betting, this is my favorite thing to do aside from that. So if you want to check it out, they will give you a free pick win if you're a new sign up. So a free pick win is, for example, like last night was Steph Curry to get 1 point. They'll give that for you. So it's an automatic win for your entry, an automatic leg that wins. But no matter what it is, like this weekend, there's no NBA. You'll get a free leg on UFC, or they'll give you a free win no matter what. And they'll give you up to 1K in bonus cash when you sign up with our code. Our code is LCS. Now, if you go download the app or go to the website, use our code. But if you just use the link down in the description, which I have down there, you don't need to use the code. You'll get the free pick win. You get the bonus cash on your deposit match, and you get to have some fun on Underdog. So check out Underdog Fantasy. Highly, highly recommended by myself. All right, let's get to Arizona versus Houston. This is one of my favorite. This might be my favorite spot of the week. The last time that the Arizona Wildcats played, we cashed against them. Took Kansas State plus 3.5 and the money line. It was a nice hit for us. I think that was on, Wednesday night, I think it was. But this team, now that was on the road, obviously, and both teams were streaky hot. But Kansas State, one of the best home courts in college basketball. I mean, even when they're not a great team, up there as one of the best home courts. So kind of was, a spot that I expected. I thought Kansas State was going to win that game. So we were getting points. We grabbed it. Now Arizona comes back home. Their only loss at home this season was to Duke, and that was way early in the season. So this team has been red hot. They've been elite at home. They're elite on both sides of the ball, a top 20 offense, a top 20 defense. Obviously, now you have the best defense in the country coming in Houston. Houston has not lost a true road game yet this season. They lost a couple, I think a neutral floor game. They haven't lost on the road yet in an opponent's building. I think that's going to change this weekend. The one game that I look back to was the hardest game that Houston has had to play on the road. Because when I say they haven't lost a true road game, I go back and look at their road schedule. It's not that crazy, but the one really tough game that they had to play on the road was at Kansas. And this isn't even the Kansas team that we've been used to seeing that contends for a national championship. They're still really well coached. They've got talent, but it's not the elite Kansas that we're used to. But still a tough spot. So they go into Kansas. If you remember that game, I had Kansas plus 1.5 in that game. They're up 6 points with 13 seconds left. And Houston hits a three, gets a steal, hits a three. They go to overtime, go to double overtime. Houston wins the game. Listen, say what you want. A win is a win. That is as fluky of a win as you could ever have, right? You're down 6 with 13 seconds left. You have no business winning that game. It was a brutal beat for me. But other than that, it kind of like pinged my antennas. Like, all right, the next time Houston's in a spot like this, they're going to be fade material. Because that was insane. So now, in my opinion, this lines up great. You've got Houston coming in. They don't lose many games. They haven't lost on the road. Arizona comes off of the loss to Kansas State, coming back home looking to get right. They're great. They're great on both sides of the ball. I mean, if there was, and again, going back to the regression talk, if there was ever a team due for some negative variance, I would say not even regression, because they are really good, but negative variance, it would be the Houston Cougars. The projected spread in this game that I'm seeing almost everywhere is around 3. Arizona plus 3 would be a go for me. Absolutely. I'm even going to probably take 2 or 2.5. I think this game should be right at a pick'em. And I think that Houston has some shortcomings on the road that could be exposed in this one a little bit against an elite team at home. They're such a great home team. Another thing to say is watch out for free throw shooting in this game, because this is one of the games that jumps off the board at you at free throw disparity. Arizona, a really good free throw shooting team. Houston kind of just average. But when you're talking about a game that could come down to a couple of points, that's really, really important. So, and also the fact that you're at home, maybe a friendlier whistle. right? That home whistle often comes into play when you see these teams match up. You've also got a nice system on this one with ranked home teams. Ranked matchups, just taking the home team. I'll probably do a separate video as we get closer to the tournament of like my favorite college basketball systems, maybe for the conference tournament or for the actual NCAA tournament. But one of them that's active on this game is when you just have two ranked teams playing each other. Just look at this. Last 10 years in just ranked games where both teams are ranked, the home team is 279, 211, and 15 against the spread. That's 57% plus 46.67 units with a 9% ROI if you're just betting the home team in ranked games, as long as the spread's below 7. That's what the one criteria is here. But you're getting a home dog. You're definitely getting a home dog in this game. I don't know what this is going to open at, but they're going to be a dog. So this is probably my favorite spot of the week. Arizona, take the points, take the money line. I think they're going to win this game. I love this one. All right, let's get on to the matchup of the weekend that everybody in the world, everyone and their mother's going to bet on Alabama versus Auburn, the Iron Bowl. We do have a line posted for this game. It's Bama -1.5 currently juiced. Actually, to the Auburn side, it's like -105. Auburn +1.5, -115. So maybe this comes down to a pick. We'll see. If it does come down to a pick, it ain't lasting very long. I think this line is going to close north of a possession. So I think it's going to be 2.5. I think Alabama will end up taking some money here later tonight, maybe early tomorrow morning. And once again, the ranked matchup system is in play. This is going to come down to home court, I think, and who has the best player on the floor. Now, that is kind of, I guess, debatable between Broome and maybe Sears, but whatever. In my opinion, Alabama they're obviously not as good defensively. But if you talked to me before the season started and said which team is going to be better, I mean, very few people would have told you that Auburn was going to be this much better than Alabama, to where they would be walking in to Tuscaloosa and only getting a point, right? Like, nobody would have thought this. So in my opinion, you've got some recency bias there. Obviously, Auburn had that bad loss against Florida, rebounded with a nice win on the road. Now they have their second straight road game. Bama has been red hot. They're playing really well. The thing about Alabama is, obviously, it's going to depend on how they try to attack the Tigers' defense. But man, when they hit their threes, like, they're on paper just an average three-point shooting team. But when those threes are falling, like they were against Texas the other night, where they won by like 20 plus points, you can't beat them. You just can't beat them when the threes are falling. They're just too good everywhere else. So when the threes are going down and they're forcing turnovers on defense, and Sears is getting your players in foul trouble and they're getting to the free throw line, there's nothing you could do. You can't keep up with them. You can't stop them from scoring. I think this could be one of those games where they just pull away late. Like, I'm a little surprised at the 1-point spread. I think this should be north of a possession. And I think Alabama is almost like a statement game for them. This is a massive game for them to send a message here in the conference. And I mean, this is going to have conference standings implications and all that good stuff that we look for in a game that we want this point of the season. But I really do think that their experience also, Auburn's pretty much overall a much younger team. I think the Bama experience, the Bama penetration, getting the bigs, away from the rim, which Sears is so good at, getting your guys in foul trouble, which he's so good at, coupled with the home court atmosphere. This is going to be bananas, this game. 4 p.m. Eastern tip on Saturday is going to be a bananas environment. I like Alabama in this game. And I just think, again, if they can create some shots, get some open looks from three, if those threes fall, it's game over. There's no way. And you have that makes Alabama a very high variance team. But even if you go back and look in games where the threes weren't falling, they're never out of the game because they can get hot in any second. They've had games where they shoot so poorly and they're right in it at the end, maybe a close loss, so they squeeze out a win. They don't cover, but they squeeze out a win as a big favorite. You got them here as a pick, basically. You can even take a money line on them. I think the money line will go up north of -130. So I really like Alabama in this spot. So those are the 4 games, guys, that I wanted to discuss this for Saturday this weekend. Another trend, I'll leave you guys with this trend that I wanted to mention. I'm making a short form video on a couple of systems. So I talked about them in this video, but you'll see that coming up on YouTube Shorts. But also, check this out. A revenge trend for SEC games. And I'll give you the 3 games that it's active on. 2 games that's active on for Saturday. So the trend is an SEC matchup where one of the teams lost the previous game in the same season. So you know how these teams play each other twice in their conference. So basically, you've got an SEC game where one of the teams is seeking revenge. Over the last 5 years, this is a 55% situational spot, which is great for a system. And also this season, 6-1. 6-1 this season for SEC teams seeking revenge. 2 of them this weekend. Ole Miss taking on Mississippi State at home. Going to be a sizable favorite in that game. And Tennessee at home versus Vanderbilt. Remember, the Vanderbilt beat Tennessee outright previously. So Tennessee's going to be laying up probably north of double digits in this one. But Ole Miss, Tennessee. If you want to look at other conferences, the Big Ten, Illinois over Michigan. That's also a revenge spot. And then I think you've got Sunday. I think at the Creighton St. John's game. I'll double check on that one, but Sunday might be one for Sunday as well. All right. So guys, 4 games. Alabama over Auburn, Purdue over Wisconsin, Arizona over Houston, Texas over Kentucky. Those are my 4 strongest leans to start the Saturday slate. I always do my, the lines come out Friday evening, basically Friday afternoon. That is when I'll do my deep dive. I'll have my final card usually late at night, sometimes in the morning. I send it out to also our subscribers. But these were the 4, and I'll do this every week, probably every Friday from here on out. I'm going to be talking about the Saturday slate and some kind of like the spots that I'm really looking to get down on. Free picks down below, Action app. Check out Underdog. What else? If you want to tell us if you want all my free plays, if you want to get on the pick service, I'll link the college basketball season pass, which is down below. It's $99, which will get you everything from now until the end of the NCAA tournament, which is up to, what is that? It's like April 7th this season, or it's usually the first week of April. So to get you the rest of February, all of March, and then obviously up until the end of the tournament. After the tournament, you could probably expect some NBA stuff, a little bit here and there before we get back into maybe some baseball, sprinkle it in. But for now, I'll come to you every Friday and we'll be talking college hoops. So thanks for watching, guys. As always, good luck this weekend. Let's get it.